The bottom line is the enemy lives in secrecy. That's my
Absolutely.
line about that. The enemy lives in secrecy. The enemy has nothing to grab a hold of if everything is out.
I'm Susan Goss, and as a seasoned therapist of more than 15 years, I'm honored to have had the opportunity to gain so much wisdom from so many people and love passing that knowledge on to others. So join me and some of my favorite friends as we share some tangible truths with you.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Tangible Truth Podcast. I'm Susan Goss, and we're going to pick right back up on the family of origin. So if you missed any of the last episode, I've got 3 other guests with me. They're magnificent. Angie Elrod, Kristen Schatzman, Keri. So, hey guys.
Hey there.
Hi, Susan.
We're so glad to have you all back. It's a rich conversation. We'll just continue with it and jump right in. So, Angie, we just finished your story. Listeners will have to go back and catch it. It was really good. So, thank you. We're talking about family of origin. We have to go back in order to move forward. It's just that important. Kristen, why is it important?
Yeah, I think, as we're growing up and from our families, we're receiving these worldviews that we don't even know we have, these values that maybe we're not even aware of. And so over a lifetime, those can create patterns in your life. And maybe some of those patterns are really healthy and they serve you, and maybe they're not, and they're not serving you in the way you want. And so until you go back and realize, where did I even get this from? Are other people in my family going through something similar? Is this a worldview I would still maintain? I think until you go back and do that, it's really hard to break out of those cycles and to move forward to a place that you feel like is healthier, more healed, whatever it is that your goal is. So I think until you know that you're stuck, until you know that there's a pattern, it's really hard to work your way out of that. It's kind of like flying blind.
So true. You want to explain to the listeners what a family secret might be? Because we have unspoken family rules at times, and then there'll be a family secret.
Yes. So are you meaning maybe an event that was happening in the family that no one talks about?
Yes. No.
Yeah.
And then you might find out about it as an adult 40 years later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you go, what? What?
Yes.
True.
Yes, I've had those moments even in my own life and family where they didn't even mean to keep it a secret. I just was so young. They didn't tell me the full truth. And they never realized later that they never clarified. It's kind of like that. We took the dog to the farm. It's like, no, they took it to the pound, but they said it was the farm. And you never realized there was more truth to that.
Yeah. I've had cases that they've come and said, my parents never told me I was adopted.
I found that when I was 21.
Yeah. That is so very, very, very difficult. Very.
Yeah. I think there are examples in cases where maybe who they thought was birth mom is not. Maybe it's actually an aunt or a grandma. And so they never realized that someone that they called aunt was actually their birth mother the whole time.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's this big family secret. And maybe some members of the family know, but not everybody.
With my adoption stories, I found out when I was 21. We had the kind of family where we didn't go on vacation. We went to visit Mama, who was my grandmother in Louisiana. And so we grew up around like those cousins and her family, her brother, her sister. And when we found out we were adopted, I remember them coming up to me and go, "We thought you knew." Our cousins, our aunts, our uncles, they thought our entire life that we knew. It wasn't necessarily a secret. It never was a topic of conversation.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Family secrets are weird.
Oh, they can be. They can be. Some you do not find out about till after death.
Yeah.
And then you have a different layer of grief because what do I do with this? Because I adore this person. I'm grieving and now I'm mad. It's very difficult. The bottom line is the enemy lives in secrecy. That's my line about that. The enemy lives in secrecy. So the enemy has nothing to grab a hold of if everything is out. So when you're doing family of origin, if everything's open, you discover a lot. Couples that come in that have had a betrayal, if everything's out, instead of ripping Band-Aids off.
One at a time.
Yes, it's so much better.
I will say that's probably one of the biggest things I learned. Get the pain out of the way. What's that phrase? Death by 1,000 cuts. Instead of revealing little snippets, let's just rip the Band-Aid, the huge Band-Aid off instead of the little ones. And it got to the point where Satan couldn't talk to me when I was sad and when I was in a corner and when I couldn't get out of bed because he had nothing to hold over me. Yeah, I've already dealt with that. I've already expressed that. I talked to someone about that. It takes away that foothold that he might have in those little places in your life because you can't blackmail me with it anymore because it's already out in the open.
Yeah, that's good. So family secrets and hidden family rules.
Yeah, well, I think even if they're not hidden, sometimes you just don't even realize they're rules. So I don't know if it's necessarily that anybody's trying to keep anything under wraps, but just we all have these values and rules of things we think about money, things we think about gender roles, education, senses of humor, just ways your family operates that are different than others. And you really think that's just the way the world is. And that's just the way every family operates. And that is what's true about money. And it's not until you start to get into relationship with other people, friends, family members, significant others, that you realize, oh, just because we thought that about money, just because we thought that about education doesn't mean that.
Yeah, I think Susan said it earlier. You when you get married, you marry the entire family and all of their beliefs.
Yes. And it's like, you think what?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel that way.
Right.
And then you've got to come together. So it does matter what your philosophy of money is because you marry that philosophy and then you've got your own. So it is very interesting, the patterns that we marry into because they're marrying your patterns and you're marrying their patterns. So it's very interesting, family of origin and patterns.
Yeah. And how it impacts not just your life, but I mean, it impacts it impacts the people you work with, the people, you know, obviously your spouse and your kids, your friendships. It's that ripple effect of even you had that one little pebble moment when you were 5 and in the grand scheme of your life, it was a very small thing, but the ripples of how it went forth and affected you, not only long term, but your other relationships and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a crazy thing when you really think about how some small things can have such a huge impact on our lives.
Yeah. And what I love about working with genogram or family of origin is to go, okay, if you do have children, you think, oh, I want to take the good from my family of origin and I want to change the patterns that I did not receive that are good. And I want my children to benefit from the good. And my husband's name is Steve. I want Steve and I to work from his good, from his family of origin, and us to do the best we can to create new patterns generationally.
Yeah, you think about those generational cycles and probably all of our families have some. And then we probably also all have chain breakers like that. Those family members that broke the cycle and because of that have left a better legacy for those behind them.
Yeah.
Because they decided to do exactly what you just said. I see what I've been given and I'm going to choose something different through the grace of God.
Yes. Yeah. And now we have 2 sons, Jake and Chad, and they're doing the same thing because they married into 2 different family of origins. And so they have children and they're thinking the same thing and praying about, okay, we'll take the good, we'll take the bad of both, and we'll do our own family of origins and change patterns. I mean, that's the way it happens with family of origins. But you have to be aware of what the healthy patterns are and what the unhealthy patterns are. And if there's any unhealthy patterns, you have to be, again, intentional on what do we want to change. What is that phrase? You do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over.
Because it's not going to change.
And expecting a different outcome.
It's not
going to change.
But I think that's like, I like how you just touched on it has to be intentional to change. Because I grew up with a dad who, when he would get in these depressive episodes, he would go a week or 2 without speaking to any of us. And I know for myself, whenever I've dealt with depression and issues, I retreat. I suffer in silence and suffer by myself. But then I remember what that felt like as the kid when the person, one of the people who's supposed to love me and, the biggest way possible, walks by you in the hallway and says nothing, or hides out in their room and doesn't ask you how your day is going. So like you said, I have to be intentional to be like, this isn't about me. This is about, I don't want my kids to ever think that whatever's going on right there is more important than the day they had at school.
Exactly. Very intentional.
And yeah, I would rather snuggle under my bed with peanut M&Ms and watch Bones for the 5 millionth time because it's my comfort show.
Yeah, I like that. I was just struck by just this thought. There's a section in here that says, we honor our parents' culture and histories, but we obey God. And as you were talking, I was just thinking that, like, wow, this process is so important to be dependent on the Holy Spirit and what God is wanting to rewrite in our stories and what patterns he's wanting to break. Because like you said, you have to make those intentional choices. And there's going to be moments where it's really easy to fall back on what's known and what we've seen around us. And man, it takes a lot of
you have to rewire
revelation.
It literally is like rewiring the neural pathways. You have to, because my neural pathways are, if I'm sad, leave me alone. I want to be in a corner by myself. And that's the comfort neural pathway. But you have to trudge. It's almost like trudging through snow to reroute that neural pathway. That says, no, this is not what I want. I want to go this way.
Yep.
Well, here's an example of a family pattern. I'm just interrupting because it just came to me. We don't talk about anything that's not good. We sweep it under the rug. Anybody else?
Oh, my
Southern,
gosh.
hello.
You don't talk about anything that's good or talk
anything
about anything
that's bad. Did I say it backwards?
You said it backwards.
But no, we do talk about what's good. And we talk about what we do and where we go and checking off the list and our grades and our performance. And we talk about all these things that we do that we succeed in. But if there are things that happen that are not pleasant or maybe a little embarrassing or don't reflect well, we act like they didn't happen.
Yep.
The only acceptable emotion is happy and nothing else is allowed.
Yes. So how did you, here's my therapist, how did your family handle conflict? Crickets.
What conflict?
It's crickets.
We're a conflict-free household.
What does that mean? What do you mean? How did we have? Well, we got up and went to school again the next day. And we carried on in our activities.
Yeah.
And I think that's really common and also crippling.
Very crippling.
Because then how do you deal with conflict when you do get married or when you do with like
very crippling.
work?
And you can just cut all that out if you want to.
No, I love that.
No, I think it's great.
We needed to hear that. We needed to hear that because that's a very typical thing that we hear in therapy is my family. That matter of fact, I write that on patterns a lot on the genogram. My family only talks about the good. They never talk about the bad. Do you get that a lot? That they never talk about the bad. Only good. That's only acceptable.
Yeah.
So therefore, consequently, so many people don't know how to express their feelings.
They don't even have the words.
They have no words.
That's right.
About when you say, but what's really going on? They look at you like deer in a headlight.
Yes.
They don't know how to express it. Now, the body keeps the score. And you can tell something is so, you can tell they're hurting, they're wounded, and something's going on. But they don't know how to tell you because why? Their family of origins never allowed it. Now, they can only talk about good. So they can talk about that all day. They can also, and I've got a client right now that wants to stay in content all day long. That's very comfortable for them, is to stay in content.
Does that mean like surface level?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Here's what I did.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what happened.
This is what happened. And she just loves to talk about it. And I'll let her go for about 20 minutes even. And then I go, okay, what's really going on right here, like inside? How's your heart and everything? And it is so difficult.
Yep.
It's based on family of origin. And so it is really good that you brought that up.
Good.
Because it's it's so much more common than you would imagine. That there are so many more families that are like that than are not. It's unusual that a family of origin. I know Kristen's family. Kristen has shared with me. They are very open, isn't it?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, but that was my mom's story, and they're pretty open about that.
Really?
And so I feel a little more comfortable talking about it. But yeah, she came from a happy is the only acceptable emotion. You talk about things, but you don't really talk about anything.
Okay.
And then she married my dad, who was from a very intense family where everything was spoken, even if it was anger, but just get it out, communicate through it. And she said when they got married, she just had no clue what was going on because she would feel things inside that she had no verbiage for. And it came out through, different physical experiences because she had no words to get it out verbally. And over decades together, she has become the deepest well of a woman you could ever imagine. I mean, deep, incredible communicator, able to meet people in those places.
But she probably did a whole lot of hard work to get there.
A lot of work to get there. And because of that, to your point, I have now been raised in a different legacy of we arguably talk about too much, too candidly. I have so many memories of having these beautiful, deep conversations with my family all the time, just in public, at restaurants. And there's just no filter in what we'll discuss. But I am now realizing that's not the norm. And it's not until I've gotten into relationships and I'm like, why can't people be deeper? I'm like, I just happen to inherit a really beautiful thing in that. But it came through the hard work of my parents. Yeah.
So see and that's not the norm. And it's a beautiful picture of how it works, how it works when everyone is able, because everyone is safe to express what is going on, how they're feeling. Let's talk. I did not hear Kristen say, we all agree.
Oh, we all disagree.
No.
All right.
Pretty constantly.
Yeah. What I heard her say is everyone feels safe enough to share how they view life, world, how they're feeling, all that kind of stuff, which is beautiful. But it came with a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
That does not naturally happen, but it supernaturally happens.
Right.
And so that's a distinction that I think is so we go back again, pointing upward to God. We cannot do this alone.
That's right.
We cannot do it alone. That's why, thank you. I mean, God, in his perfect design, he designed us to need him.
Yep.
He designed us to need him. So again, if you're willing to hang around another time, we've already run out of time again, but such great conversation. So hang on. Is that okay? Just one.
Are y'all saying we're coming back next week to talk about this again?
Next week, because we've got to finish up again. Okay. Love y'all. So hang on.
Thanks for listening to the Tangible Truth Podcast, part of the KLRC Podcast Network.